Dear friend, welcome to the lecture series in microwave engineering. In today's video lecture, we are going to learn about the E-plane T junction as well as we are going to derive the S matrix, scattering matrix for the E-plane T. So before talking about the E-plane T, let us talk about what actually the E-plane T is. So basically the E-plane T is a waveguide T. So now what actually a waveguide T is? So here we can see the two structures in the diagram. So the first one is having three ports. So let us consider this one as port 1, port 2 and port 3. And you know, port is the point where we can give the input and where we can get the output. And here also, if you look at the second diagram, here also you will be looking three ports. Let us consider this one as port 1, port 2 and port 3, right? So coming to what is a waveguide T, a waveguide T is a three-port device, right? Now, if we give the power at this point or at this particular port, now the power can go out from this port and the power can go from this port. And here also, if we give the power input at this point or at this port, the power can be collected from this port and the power can be collected from this port, right? So if we give the input at the port 3, so the power is divided into port 1 as well as port 2. Here also the same thing is happening. So in that sense, we can say it is the structure which can divide the power. At the same time, we can also see one more thing from this. If we give the input power at the port 1 and also at the port 2, if we apply the inputs which are out of phase, now these two powers will be combined and they can be collected as an output at the other port, that is port 3. And the same thing that we can observe, if the input is applied at port 1 and if the input is applied at the port 2, so both the things will be added and we can get them as an output at the port 3. So in this sense, we can say there is a addition of the two signals. So basically, the waveguide T's are used to either to divide or combine the power in the waveguide system. Now, if we see the structures, right? So we can say this is one of the waveguide and this is one of the waveguide and this is one of the waveguide. Now, by taking the three waveguide tubes and if we connect them and if they look in the form of the English alphabet T, right, that we can observe. If you see, so here we can see that it is looking like English alphabet T here. So because of that, they will be called as the waveguide T's. Because of that, they will be called as waveguide T's. So they are looking in the form of that particular English letter. Now coming to the E-plane T or E-plane waveguide T. So here we will be having a particular rectangular waveguide. Now we call this one as broader dimension and we call this one as narrow dimension of that particular rectangular waveguide. Now we have port 1 at this side and we have port 2 at this side. Now this particular line, dotted line, which is passing through the middle of the rectangular waveguide, we call that one as the rectangular waveguide axis. Now the port 1 and port 2 both will be called as the collinear arms. For this particular waveguide, so along the rectangular waveguide, at the middle, if we cut the broader section and we attach the waveguide like this, then that forms a E-plane waveguide. And the part which is attached to the rectangular waveguide section will be called as side arm, whereas the port 1 and port 2 uh, parts of the waveguide are called as the collinear arms. Now, if this is the port 1 and this is the port 2, the side arm will be indicating the port 3. So here we can see there is a power combination and the power division can be occurred in the E-plane waveguide T. At the same time, we will be defining this one as E-plane waveguide based on one of the thing that we can observe in the structure. If we apply the signal here, and we can get the output from the port 1 and we can get the output from the port 2. If we observe the electric field lines at the output ports, right? So to the electric field lines at the output ports, if the side arm axis is parallel, then we call that particular waveguide T structure is called as the E-plane waveguide T. So here the E-plane waveguide T is also called as the voltage or series junction. It is also called as the voltage or series junction. These are the other names that we can apply to the E-plane waveguide. So here this E-plane waveguide can be used to combine the power or divide the power. They can be combine the power or divide the power, right? Now let us see the individual things related to this particular E-plane T. So we have two ports. So this is port 1 and we have another port, that is port 2, and we will be having the port 3 here. So we know this port 3 is also called as the side arm, and the port 1 and port 2 are called as the collinear arms. They will be called as the collinear arms. Now we are giving the input at port 3 so that we are getting the output from port 1 and also we are getting the output from port 2. Now if the power is fed at port 3, then we can get the output at port 2 as well as port 1. So if we look at this output at port 2 and port 1, those outputs will be at out of phase. They will be at out of 180 degrees to each other. At out of 180 degrees to each other. Right? So that is the thing that can happen here. And we are considering that the length of the arms are equal and the signal whatever or the power that we are getting at port 1 and port 2 are out of phase, that is out of 180 degrees to each other. Now if we consider that if the amplitude of the power or the signal is A, if we consider at the port 3, that is if we give the signal at side arm with the amplitude A, then the amplitude of the power or the signal at port 1 and port 2 will be A over root 2. And if the power at the input port, that is at port 3, is P, then at port 1 and port 2 will be P by 2 each, right? So here we can write the power that is fed at port 3 will be equally divided into port 1 as well as the port 2. Now we will see how this can be used as the power divider as well as the power combiner. So here we will write as power divider, So in this case, we can see that the power at port 3, is P, right? Or at port 3, the power is P. Now at port 2 and port 1, or we write at port 1, the power P1 will be equals to P by 2, and at port 2, the power is P2 will be equal to P by 2. So here we can write the power at port 3 is the summation of the power at port 1 as well as the power at port 2. So where we can write this one as P by 2 and then P by 2. So it will be equals to P, that is 2P by 2. So we get P. So which can also be written as 2P1 or will be also equal to 2P2. So from this we can write, right? So P will be equal to 2P1 and here in this case P will be equal to 2P2. So in that sense that we have written this particular expression here. Now if we want to represent this total amount of power, right? So the total amount of power coming out of port 1, coming out of port 1 and from port 2 in decibels. If you want to write what could be the power that is coming out of port 1 as well as the port 2 in decibels, so we can write in decibels as 10 log base 10. Now the power that is input at P3, that is port 3, and the power that is taken output at the port 1. So here we can write this one as 10 log base 10, then P1, and P3 can be written as 2P1, which will be equal to P3, right? Here this entire expression tells that. So here it will be 2P1. So we get 10 log base 10, then here it is P1, here it is we get 1 over 2, right? So when we calculate this, we get minus 3 dB. At the same time, if we look at the power at port 2 also, then we get 10 log base 10 and the input power is P3, that is at port 3, and the output power that we are getting at the port 2. Now this can also be written as 10 log base 10, then P2, and again P3 can also be written as 2P2. So again it will be 10 log base 10 1 by 2, whose value is again minus 3 dB. So because of this 3 dB value, it is also called as 3 dB splitter. It is also called as 3 dB splitter. So E plane T can also be called as 3 dB splitter, right? Now that is the case where this E plane T can be used as the power divider. Now here as a power combiner, let us see power combiner. So coming to power combiner, if we give the input, at port 1 and also at port 2, then output is available at port 3, right? So that means here we will be having the port 1, here it is port 2, and here it is port 3. Now the input power is given at port 1 and the input power that is given at port 2. Now the output we are getting at the port 3. So whatever the power that we are giving here, like P1, and here it is P2, then here it is P3. Now the P3 will be the summation of the P1 as well as the P2. Now we get the addition of the powers from the port 1 and port 2 when these collinear arms, when the collinear arms are equal and having the same size, and whatever the input power that we are applying are out of phase, then only we get the summation of the powers as P1 and P2 at the output port 3. If they are in phase, now the summation of the power will be 0. That we need to consider, right? So this way it can also be used as a power combiner. Now let us derive the S matrix for this E plane T, right? So let us take a new slide here. So here the E plane T is a 3-port device, right? E-plane T is a 3-port device. So for a 3-port device, we know the scattering matrix can be defined as a 3 by 3 matrix. So in the 3 by 3 matrix, so we will be having 3 rows and 3 columns. So it is 3 by 3 matrix now. So S12, S11, S12, S13, then it is S21, S22, then S23, then S31, S32, S33 that we can write. So this is the fundamental 3 by 3 matrix for a 3-port waveguide T here. Now, we know due to the plane of symmetry of the junction, the scattering coefficients outputs at port 1 and port 2 are 180 degrees out of phase with the input port, that is 3. So already we have seen in the working of the E-plane T, right? So if the input is applied at port 3, right, then we are getting the output at port 1 and port 2. So whatever the output that we are getting at port 1 and port 2, these two will be at 180 degrees out of phase, right? So that means whatever the output that we are getting at S1, that is, the parameter which is related to port 1, right? So the output that we are getting at 1 when it is applied at 3 will be out of phase, indicated with the negative sign, is out of phase with the output at 2 due to the input that is applied at 3. So this simply we can write this one as S23 will be equal to minus of S13, that we can write. So therefore we can write S23 will be equal to minus of S13. At the same time, due to the symmetry property of S matrix, symmetry property of S matrix coefficients, that means Sij will be equal to Sji. So here that we can write that S12 will be equal to S21 and S13 will be equal to S31 and S23 will be equal to S32, right? At the same time, we can also observe that if the port 3 is perfectly matched with the junction, so in that case what will happen? If the input is applied at port 3, due to the matching with the junction, there will not be any reflections taken place. So whatever the signal that is applied at port 3, that will be passing through port 1 as well as to port 3. So in that case, we can say there will not be any scattering that can occur at port 3, so that S33 will be 0. We can write S33 will be 0. Now, keeping all these values in the given S matrix, now the scattering matrix of the E-plane T will be written as, previously it is S11, S12, S13 and S21, S22, S23 and S31, S32, S33 now will be modified to S11, S12, then it is S13, then again here S21, due to the symmetry property, S21 can be written as S12, then again it will be S22, then S23 can be written as minus of S13, because there is the output at port 2 due to the 3 will be out of phase with respect to the output at port 1, which is applied at the port 3. So that we have seen already. So S23 can be written as minus of S13, and here S31 can be written as S13 due to the symmetry property, and here S32 again we can write this one as due to the symmetry, S32 can be written as S23, where this S23 again will be equal to minus of S13. So we will be writing this one as minus of S13, and S33 will be 0. So this is the modified S matrix. So if we observe the scattering parameters or scattering coefficients in the matrix, so we will be having S11, S12 and S13, here S13 and S12, and here also S13, S13, and here we'll be having S22, and this one is 0. So if you look at, there are 4 unknown parameters. So now if we find out these 4 unknown parameters, now if we substitute the values for those 4 unknown parameters within this S matrix, then that accomplishes our job to find out what could be the S matrix for the given E-plane T. Right. Now we will do that. So we know that from the unitary property, right? So we know that the product of the S matrix with its conjugate will be equal to the unitary matrix, right? So here we can write S11. Here we have to take this matrix now. S11, S12, S13, S12, S22 minus S13, S13 minus S13, 0, multiplied with its conjugate. So that is S11 conjugate, S12 conjugate, S13 conjugate, S12 conjugate, S22 conjugate minus S13 conjugate, S13 conjugate minus S13 conjugate, and 0, which will be equal to the matrix 1 0 0 0 1 0 and 0 0 1, right? So this matrix is the matrix of this I. Now from the unitary property, that we can say that if we multiply the row 1, that is R1, with the column 1 of the second matrix, will give the result as 1. So by multiplying the row 1 and column 1, we can see that S11 multiplied with S11 conjugate plus S12 multiplied with the S12 conjugate plus S13 is multiplied with S13 conjugate will be equal to 1 here. So when we multiply these two, we get mod of S11 square and mod of S12 square, then mod of S13 square, which will be equal to 1 here. So here we can write this particular expression as 1. So in the same way, if we go to the multiplication of other rows and columns, there also we can get the particular expressions as by multiplying the row 2 and column 2, we get S12 multiplied with S12 conjugate, then S22, then S22 multiplied with its conjugate, and now we get plus here, then S13, then S13 conjugate will be equals to 1. So now we can write this one as S12 mod S12 square, then S22 square, then again we can write S13 square, which will be equal to 1. Let us consider this one as equation 2. Also multiplying the row 3 and column 3, then we get S13 conjugate plus S13 multiplied with S13 conjugate, which will be equal to 1. So here we can write S13 square, again mod of S13 square, which will be equal to 1. So we can write this one as 2 S13 square will be equal to 1. Then we can write S13 will be equal to 1 by root 2, that we can write here. So here we obtain one of these scattering parameters value as S13 will be equal to 1 by root 2. So here by comparing, in order to get the value for the other parameters of the scattering matrix, so we are comparing equation 1 and equation 2. So what is the equation 1 that we have? So we have S11 square, then we have S12 square, then we have S13 square, which will be equal to 1. This is equation 1. And we have S12 square, then we have S22 square, then we have again S13 square, which will be equal to 1. So when we compare these two equations, so here we have S12, that is we will be having S12 square here. Here also S12 square is there. Here we have S13 square. So here also we will be having S13 square. And the left side terms will be equal to 1. That means we can write that S11 square will be equal to, here it will be S22 square. So in that sense, we can simply write that S11 will be equals to S22. S11 will be equals to S22. So let us consider this particular thing as 4. Now, further to simplify, let us take the row 3 and let us multiply this row 3 with the column 1. Right? So we are taking the row 3 of the matrix and C1 of the conjugate matrix, right? That we have already here, right? So we are taking the row 3, we are taking this one and multiplying with the column 1 of the matrix, conjugate of the scattering matrix. Then that may also give us fruitful result. So in that case, what do we get? We get the equation as S13, then S11 conjugate, then minus S13, then S12 conjugate, which will be equal to 0. So from this, by taking S13 as common term, we get S11 conjugate minus S12 conjugate will be equal to 0. So by looking at this particular thing, we can say either S13 should be equal to 0 or S11 minus S12 will be equal to 0. But we know that S13 is already that we obtain as 1 by root 2, which is not equals to 0. So here S13 is not equal to 0. So that S11 conjugate minus S12 conjugate will be equal to 0. So from this we can write S11 will be equals to S12. We can write S11 will be equals to S12. Let us consider this one as 5. So by observing 4 and 5, right? So what is the 4? That is S11, which will be equal to S22. Now the same S11 from 5 will be equal to S12. So the values of S11, S22 as well as S12 all are equal. So if we obtain the value for one parameter, then the same parameter can be considered for the remaining equations, right? Now, what we are going to do is we are going to substitute. We are going to substitute the equation 5, that is whatever we obtained that S11 will be equal to S12, which is equivalent to S22 in equation 1. We are substituting that in equation 1. So when we substitute that in the equation 1, then that particular thing will be changed to S11 square. Then again we can get S11 square. Then again we get S13 square, which will be equal to 1. So here we can write 2 S11 square, and this particular thing can be written as 1 by 2 because S13 will be 1 by root 2. So we get 1 by 2, and here it is 1. So 2 S11 square will be equal to 1 minus 1 by 2, which will be equal to again 1 by 2. Then S11 square will be equals to 1 by 4. Then S11 will be obtained as 1 by 2. So therefore, we know that S11 will be equals to S12, which will be equals to S22. Now the value for S11 that we obtained as 1 by 2. Now by substituting the parameter values in the S matrix, then we can accomplish the job of finding the S matrix for the E-plane T. So here we will be having the S matrix as S11. Here we will be having that one as S11, then S12, then S13 here. Again here we will be having S12, then S22 minus of S13, and again here it is S13 minus of S13, and this will be 0. Since S11 and S12 and S22 are 1 by 2 and S13 is 1 by root 2. Therefore, the S matrix of the E-plane T can be written as 1 by 2. Then again it will be 1 by 2. Again it will be 1 by root 2. Then 1 by 2. Then 1 by 2 minus 1 by root 2. And here it will be 1 by root 2 minus 1 by root 2, and this will be 0. So this is how we can derive the scattering matrix for the E-plane T. Hope you like this video. Do like, comment, share and subscribe my channel for more technical content. Thanks for watching.